So on these, we're going to be using our sum and difference identities. So because this one is addition of sine, we could think of this as being sine of alpha plus beta. That's a sum identity. That should simplify to be sine of alpha cosine beta minus sine beta cosine alpha. On this particular problem, my alpha is pi over 4. So this is sine of pi over 4. And my beta is pi over 6. So we're looking at cosine of pi over 6 minus sine of beta, which is pi over 6, times cosine of alpha, which is pi over 4. Sine of pi over 4 is radical 2 over 2. Cosine of pi over 6, that's cosine of a 30-degree angle. So that would be the adjacent, which is radical 3, over the hypotenuse, which is 2. Then we're going to subtract. So again, this is a 30-degree angle, so sine of 30 is a half. And then cosine of 45 would be radical 2 over 2. Now when I multiply this out, radical 2 times radical 3 is radical 6 over 4, minus 1 times radical 2 is radical 2 over 4. So I think you could write it like this, or I think your homework takes it as radical 6 minus radical 2 all over 4, because you have a common denominator of 4. Sorry, I've come back here and I realized I copied I wrote down the wrong identity. This should be plus, 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 and plus. Sorry about that. For sine of alpha plus beta, it should be a plus in between there. Here we've got a sum identity for tangent. So this one's a little bit harder. So that's tangent of alpha plus tangent of beta over 1 minus tangent of alpha, tangent of beta. And so again, this is for the identity tangent of alpha plus beta. So when I plug in, my alpha is pi over 4, my beta is 2 pi over 3. So this would be tangent of pi over 4 plus tangent of 2 pi over 3 over 1 minus tangent of pi over 4 times tangent of 2 pi over 3. Okay, so when I start with tangent of pi over 4 is a 45-degree angle. So tangent of 45 is 1. So radical 2 over radical 2, which is 1. And then tangent of 2 pi over 3. 2 pi over 3 is a 60-degree reference angle. I'm in the second quadrant, so tangent is going to be negative. So that would be a negative radical 3 over 1 for tangent. So that's going to be a negative radical 3 over 1 minus tangent of pi over 4 is 1. Tangent of 2 pi over 3 is negative radical 3. And so now we're just simplifying. So this would be 1 minus radical 3 over 1 plus radical 3. And I'm pretty sure it'll take this as a final answer. If it doesn't, it's because you have to rationalize the denominator. So I would multiply by 1 minus radical 3, multiply by the conjugate, if it won't take that answer. Here on this one, we've got cosine of 13 pi over 12. Well, that's a 195-degree angle. Well, we don't have anything memorized for a 195-degree angle. So what we're going to do is we want to think about 195 degrees. Can I rewrite that as two angles that I do know how to find sine and cosine of without a calculator? So for me, because it ends in a 5, I know I can rewrite 195 degrees as 45 plus something. So I would do 195 minus 45. That's going to be 45 plus 150. So another way we could write this, cosine of 13 pi over 12 is the same thing as cosine of 150 degrees plus 45 degrees. And now then we're going to use our sum and difference identities from here. So this would be cosine of alpha, cosine of beta, minus sine alpha, sine beta. So now plugging in those specific values, this time I'm going to have cosine of 150 times cosine of 45 minus sine of 150 times sine of 45. So cosine of 150 degrees, that's a reference angle of 30 degrees. Cosine would then be radical 3 over 2. And because I'm in the second quadrant, that's got to be negative for cosine. Cosine of 45 would be radical 2 over 2. I'm in the first quadrant, so that's positive. Minus sine of 150. I'm in the second quadrant. Sine is positive in the second quadrant. 30-degree reference angle. So sine would be 1 over 2. And then sine of 45 would be radical 2 over 2. Now, if you need any help with where all these come from, this is all from your special right triangles. I didn't draw those out. I just did them in my head. But if I need to draw those out, I can. Just let me know. And so now we're going to simplify from here. So this would be negative radical 6 over 4 minus radical 2 over 4. So we're going to write that as negative radical 6 minus radical 2 all over 4. And that would be my final answer there.